My very first job was working as a first vet for the Uganda Wildlife Authority. They felt they needed a vet because gorilla tourism had begun and they were concerned that people were going to make gorillas sick. However, one of the first diseases I had to deal with was not a disease from tourists, but from the local community. When gorillas went outside the park to eat people's crops, we found that they came across dirty clothing on scarecrows and picked up scabies or sarcoptic mange, which resulted in them losing hair, developing white scaly skin, and the baby gorilla dying. And this made me realize that you can't protect the gorillas without improving the health of the people who they share a habitat with.
You know, you cannot have a real journalism in the conditions of dictatorial regime. The reason I left Russia, I was unable to write about the contemporary politics in Russia. It was that I was facing a jail time. And obviously when you sit in jail, you cannot cover anything, you cannot write anything. It's impossible to be an independent journalist and to work inside Russia. You can write opinions, probably, but there is no way to do any news-based journalism inside Russia.
In the core, Hill is about making justice systems deliver, and not just deliver for people who have money, people who can read, people who can write, but to make it deliver for everybody. Getting innovation going in the justice sector is a complex thing. We started out the usual way, by stimulating innovators with an innovation award, and we built even a justice accelerator that is now operational. But we learned that those innovations are not really going to scale like something comparable would probably in, for example, the world of climate, if you don't change the enabling environment.
We promote coexistence between humans and wildlife here by improving the health and livelihoods of the local communities and preventing zoonotic disease between the people and the wildlife. And then we help coffee farmers living around the park and give them a good price for good coffee. One thing I've found is it's very important to be more collaborative. It's a concerted effort. You can't do it alone as conservationists. You have to reach out to the development community. Reducing poverty in the local communities reduces their need to poach and collect firewood. You need to reach out to the health community, particularly in the case of great apes, so that they don't make the great apes sick. But also, we find that when we improve community health, we're improving their attitudes to conservation. They're much more willing to coexist because we don't only care about the trees and the wild animals, we also care about them.
It is to say that any changes to Russian journalism come with a change of the regime. We have to take this regime down. I hope that this awful war in Ukraine, this war of aggression, which is conducted by my country and the army for which I pay taxes, will become a final blow to Putin's regime. Only after it happens, Russian journalism will be able to resume their work inside Russia. You know, the step number one, to take Putin down. Step number two, to release Alexei Navalny, Ilya Yashin, and others leaders of the Russian opposition from jails, where they are now. And step number three, start to rebuild the country. We will have basically to start from scratch.
One of the main challenges in our work is the question of ownership. Who owns the improvement of the justice system? So creating ownership is one of our key challenges. And when I use creating, that's also difficult because ownership, I've learned, has to be assumed. Nobody outside can create ownership. And when the ownership is taken up, it is his or her ownership for which you can't take credit. I gave you ownership. No, the other person took it, which says a lot about the way we work, the way I need to lead this organization, and the way the people at Hill need to work.